Okay, let's get started. So, today I have a really interesting guy. His name is Robert Bostick. And of course, he must be a good guy because his name is Robert as well. And I think we're going to enjoy this interview. So, Robert, I invited you to do an interview because I had a sense that you are also an ordinary visionary. And what I mean by ordinary visionary is someone that just has ideas and creativity and possibilities and then also goes into action and makes stuff happen and make things real and turns your dreams into reality. And, everyone I talk to has got a different dream and a different set of things they do. So the first question I ask is, how are you an ordinary visionary?
Ordinary, I suppose, in that I'm an ordinary person, and ordinary visionary in that I'm the only one who has this vision that I have, which is astonishing to me, given its benefits. And so I carry this vision kind of like a burden in some ways. I mean, it's a calling, and so I've just told myself, you got to keep going until the person who called is satisfied. And I don't know who called, how it all works, but there's definitely something in this aligning of my vision with the actual things that are happening in my life that are making this vision come to be.
So everybody's wondering, well, what the hell is this vision?
Yes,
What is that vision?
I could go on for 10 more minutes building it up. The vision is that humor has exceptional benefits for almost every area of our lives, certainly in business and communication, in personal relationships, and then in marketing. And what I've been amazed by, for all of its scientifically proven and objectively seen and experienced benefits, there are no tools to support the success of the use of humor for individuals other than go out there on the internet and good luck and don't get fired. And
well, if you want to learn comedy, if you want to be a stand-up comedian, for instance,
yep,
you, there are people that can help you.
that's true.
I don't know if there's anyone that can make a person that can't be funny, that isn't funny. Maybe they can. I don't know. I think you can learn just about anything, but some, go higher. But but so so get into more depth what you mean by using humor in your life and in your business, and well, making a living with this, you're using it in business, and we'll talk about your
Yeah.
comic database later on. But what are you trying to accomplish? I mean, what does it look? What does success look like to you if you're helping people effectively use humor in their lives, and to what end? Humor is a really interesting thing, and I'm really interested in it too. So hopefully we crack each other up once or twice during this call as well. So tell me more, great humor sage.
Yeah, great humor sage. Well, as it turns out that being funny can be difficult. I've done stand-up comedy for 40 years, and sometimes I'm funny and sometimes I'm not. But when I am, I'm pretty funny. But that's a whole different set of skills. What I'm saying is that being able to simply present humor, and that means you don't have to say a word. You simply put a phenomenal piece of humor in front of people and delight them. And what happens is instantly their view of you is transformed from one of no impression of you at all, or not even maybe very, very favorable, because of whatever reason they don't like you, because you're too tall, too short, too old, whatever, if you're speaking or if you're in a meeting. So they might have their negative bias might throw you under the bus pretty fast. So how do you win people over? Well, you make them smile. And the minute people smile, the science tells us that our emotions shift and our judgment of people shift radically, simply by the fact they achieve that end. So the question is, how do you make people smile with confidence? And what I've learned is there's an entire industry called the cartoon industry and a variety of other memes over that if you were to find the perfect humor or visual image for that particular thing you're speaking about, it's game, set, match. You just won everybody over. They're listening. They like you. Their reticence about you is just ended. And so that if there was a technology that achieved that, that would be a $1 billion industry. And there is, but nobody knows how to access it.
Well, I did some study of this a few years ago. I actually bought a course called Charm Offensive. Have you heard of that?
I know him well. He's great.
I think he's in England, right?
Yeah, John.
And I tried to help some of my clients do this, and I discovered that it was rocket science. But using a cartoon is not rocket science because you're not drawing the cartoons. You're selecting cartoons and then using them in email and presentations and other ways.
Right.
So tell us all the different ways that you can use cartoons or other kinds of humor in marketing communications or whatever. I'm just, these days I get inbox comics, which I think you know.
Yeah, they're the best. They're great.
I get 18 different comics every day, and I just love it. But almost every day, I'll send one of those to my wife on messaging.
Yeah,
and that's been a good thing because now she associates with me not being her controlling husband, but someone that's trying to lighten her up.
Right.
She's the toughest audience, right? Anyway.
Yeah, I would say, just to give an example. So here's a couple silly. So what happens is these cartoonists they were born to do this. We weren't born to do what they do, and there's about 500 of them in the world. They're really exceptional, and each one of them has this amazing gift. So let's just take this one. Speaking of you and your wife, you send this one to your wife, you'll bust her up. So here's one by Robert Mankoff. I don't know if you can read it there.
That's from the New Yorker, right?
Yeah, they're leaving the wedding here, and the first straw. And he says, "Mind if I put on the game?" Right, that's simple. So you send that one to your wife; she'll appreciate your tone deafness of the opportunity. But the point is, someone has drawn this. Someone thought of this in the middle of the night. They drew it. They took them a while to get the caption right, and then it was perfect. And and that's their gift. That's their calling to do that. And this guy's done hundreds of these. So now, how would you use that in a meeting or in an email? You might say, I hope it's not bad timing, but I'd like to talk to you about this marketing thing you're working on. Would this week be good? That might be an email or DM. And the point is, the cartoon immediately establishes that you've got a sense of humor. They themselves see that they might use that cartoon themselves, so they appreciate the fact you've just shared something that's actually useful to them personally. They would have never found that on their own, so they appreciate your thoughtfulness about using it. And everybody wins by that little moment there. But the key, though, is nobody knows anything about the cartoon industry, really. And the cartoon industry is only one piece of them. There's the meme world. So there's this one here, right? Here you go. There we go. Right. So there's your typical funny. We've all dealt that situation, that frustrating situation. So I don't know if you can see what's going on there, right? That's your normal iPhone. All I'm saying is that using visual humor solves the problem of not having a sense of humor. All you need is the ability to see what makes you feel good and smile, and now find a way to use that in such a way that makes sense in some business or communication context.
Well, Robert, it can be hard to select a cartoon.
Yes.
I mean, every week I write an article, and I go to a database of images. And sometimes I find it in 2 minutes, and sometimes it takes me half an hour.
That's true.
Just trying to find the right image and the right cartoon is hard too. So tell people about the cartoon database.
Yeah. So what happened was I told you a story before. I went to a presentation about 10 years ago, and it was a tedious, boring VC presentation, fundraising for a business guy, and he's a CEO. He's up there presenting, and everybody's snoozing and falling asleep and looking for their phone for desperation and for relief. And then I hear this crowd starting to laugh, and I look around. I'm thinking, it can't be him. They must be laughing about him, for God's sake. How boring he is. And I look up, and I look at this cartoon, and my God, that cartoon is freaking hilarious.
You put a cartoon up on the presentation?
He did. He put it on the screen, and the cartoon was so friggin' funny, and the response was so astonishing. And then what got me also, I'd done stand-up comedy for years, so I knew what it took to make an audience into uproar of laughter. It's a lot of skills. And anyway, so from that response and watching people clamor around him after the presentation, like literally people's view of him was day and night in 15 seconds. So that's when I realized, wow, that is an incredible little product right there. And then I researched the entire New Yorker cartoon database, which this is a New York cartoon, and then realized they needed to be curated because people only have so much time. So even when so I built the world's first cartoon search engine called The Perfect Cartoon with my friend Adam Chire, who created Siri. And he had a loose search engine sitting around, as those kind of people tend to have things sitting around that nobody's using. They're
Had a search engine sitting around. Oh, let's put some cartoons in it. So by the way, we'll put the link in in this thing, but it's called theperfectcartoon.com.
Yeah, I think it's either one, perfectcartoon.com or The Perfect Cartoon will get you there.
Okay, good. All right. And when you go to The Perfect Cartoon, you can put in any topic you can imagine.
Yes.
Receding hair.
Receding hair, you might put hair in there. Receding might, what you put is just a basic word in there, and you'll immediately see something I've picked out of the tens of thousands of cartoons I've looked at that I thought was worthy of saving. Because the truth is this: if they're not on this search engine, they may never be seen again. Because a lot of these cartoons they're posted somewhere on a variety of cartoon sites, but they're just not circulating because there's no real way to highlight them. And so I said, I refuse to let these. I refuse to let these cartoons disappear from their incredible joy they deliver. So I said, they got to be saved.
So when you look up a word,
yep,
you get a panel with what, 4 cartoons? You
get 8 per page, and there could be, there's a bunch of pages, so you just click through the pages.
I know. So sometimes there's dozens and dozens on a particular topic. So click, and So how would somebody? How would somebody use that in a practical sense in their business or their life? I mean, you want to get people somehow addicted to using this.
Yeah, and I am addicted to using it, and I'll tell you how I use it on LinkedIn, for example. I mean, you can use it. If you could wave a magic wand and create a phenomenal cartoon for any situation, you'd do that. But we don't have a magic wand, so this is the next best thing. But the reason you would do it is because it just lights people up. Everybody loves receiving an hysterically perfect cartoon about a topic they hadn't thought was that funny, but now it's funny. And it's a good thing, sharing the light. But anyway, on LinkedIn, if I see people commenting on something, I think they might be commenting about marketing, sales, LinkedIn. They could be commenting about software, and I'll put that word into my search engine, and I'll now be confronted with 30, 40 cartoons on that topic that I've personally chosen, but I haven't seen them in years because they could have been put in over many years. And I'll find one, and I'll look, and I'll wait till I think, okay, that is freaking hilarious. I'll then pull that off the database and just, on LinkedIn, people let you just share whatever. It seems to be perfectly fine. And I'll always attribute a cartoon to the source. So on LinkedIn, I'll put the link to the cartoon so that person gets credit for it and they get discovered. But mostly their cartoon is also discovered and enjoyed, so versus never seen again. So then I will put that cartoon. I'll make a nice comment. I'll have that cartoon. And often my cartoon comment gets multiple likes because that stood out as being an additional nice contribution to that person's post and their ideas they're trying to share. So it's a win-win for everybody.
So that's a LinkedIn usage.
Yeah.
So and I suppose you could do that in Facebook or anything else, Facebook, right?
A direct message, whatever you're doing. You want to, it's a form of personalization is what it allows you to do. To think, how can I personalize my comment to this person, or in a DM? How can I, I know this person's into marketing. I'm going to send this great Tom Fishburne. Yeah, I think so.
Getting people's attention these days is probably harder than ever before. Although there are more ways to get attention than ever before. So I get these spam emails and I scratch my head and I think it looks like some idiot spent 2 seconds writing this.
Right.
It's got grammar mistakes. It's got typos. It doesn't make sense. It has no humanity whatsoever. So, it sort of sometimes has to go beyond the cartoon. You really have to think, what are you saying here? What are you trying to elicit? What are you asking for? What response do you want? So, do you teach that kind of thing to your clients?
I do and I don't.
Okay.
Because my real purpose, Robert, is to scale this idea. So, I'm not looking to work individually so much with people as much as I'd love to, because
Yeah.
my real dream is to say, I want millions of people to be able to benefit and use humor well now, not me training one-on-one. So that's my big goal, is that sure, I can get on media and I can do these and I can be on, talk shows and all that stuff. But really, it's only going to make any difference if millions of people are using the perfect cartoon now. So I'm on a campaign to really, on behalf of humor itself, and to say with tools, everybody now can really step up to the plate and make a difference with humor and benefit by its remarkable human connection abilities. But for example, on LinkedIn, what I do is I post 5 days a week, and I would suggest people follow me, because all I'm doing is I find an image, a cartoon that I think is phenomenal, great. Again, some cartoonists came up in the middle of the night. They spent 3 days drawing it just right. They redid the caption.
You never know.
Or minutes, and they redid the caption 4 or 5 times, or minutes. But and the point is, you can tell at the end of it, it came through them in a mysterious way, and even they and their wives and their families like, I love this one. How'd you think of that? So, and they do that all the time. So what I do is on LinkedIn, my posts are a great visual, and then the art is, if you want to learn, follow my LinkedIn post and see how I have framed how my post. I've tied the two together. This cartoon is not related to my post, and I built a post around that cartoon. But you can see how they go really well together, and that to me is one of the great ways, in emails or otherwise. Find, as you were saying, rather than being banal and stupid and boring, find something that's got some light to it, and then bring it all together.
Okay.
And my LinkedIn posts is if you follow, you do it for a half hour, drink coffee, and look at them. You'll learn everything you need to know about how to make an entertaining and engaging and relevant LinkedIn post.
Right. So, got a question. Can people sign up for the cartoon, the perfect cartoon?
Everything I do is free. My main set.
But can they sign up to get on an email list where you could send them a cartoon every day to remind them to use it? Or something?
It's not. I'm not there yet. Actually, I just finished my updated Humor Point site like last week, which I just haven't been really promoting myself that much recently, because I'm waiting for my homepage to be finished. And so, I just finished that homepage on the Humor Point. My overall, my unique innovation is something called Humor Tools. So no one's thought of the word humor tools, oddly enough. No one's even thought to build them. So I'm saying, look, I'm going to be the pioneer there. That's the obvious, we got tools for everything, but not humor. And humor has such an incredible value proposition. That's silly. So I'm just one step at a time. And then the next thing I'm working on is a TED Talk. And that TED Talk will be an 18-minute commercial for humor. And it will be an obvious, by the time you're done watching that, you're going to be all over the perfect cartoon. And be all over the realization that humor is too valuable to be avoiding it.
As I exchange with you in the email, it's got to be funny too.
Exactly.
I'm going to do a presentation on humor, but don't laugh. I mean, you got to find a way to make people laugh. And see, I'm terrified to do something like that. So I bow down to you well, you've been a stand-up comic, so you. No,
but it's all about the writing, and that is an incredible skill, and that's a skill I'm very confident about, because I've done a variety of shows. I'll be pulling things from curating my own past shows of the things I've already worked in front of a live audience,
right,
and that kind of stuff. But I will say, for example, there's a guy who's offering to teach how to, a webinar a couple of years ago on how to be funny, and the webinar wasn't funny. So there you go. So it is.
Yeah, exactly. So what's wrong with that picture?
But
most boring webinar on how to be funny.
I'll give you an example. I saw a preview for a TV show the other day and said, the review was hilarious and brilliant. They claimed the TV show, right? And I thought, that's my TED Talk. It has to be hilarious and brilliant, or why do it? So. It's a high bar, my friend, but
it's very simple. You just do 700 versions of it and run it by a few people, and sooner or later it'll hit, right?
As I say, for some reason I have no fear about it. It is a large. I have hundreds of Google Docs on all various angles going to come from the science. But I've realized and I reviewed like the top 10 TED Talks for all the funniest ones and analyze them and figure every 30 seconds, they got something going on that makes you feel good. So
Yeah.
I know what the bar is, and I'm up for the challenge.
Good. By the way, the consultant in me has to say, setting up a email list on your cartoon database is not a hard thing. You have to have a place for an email list.
And that's all coming. That's all coming.
Then that generates a form, which you put a link in, and there it is. And then
all that's coming. I just finished the homepage. Now the email is going to be collected throughout these things.
Because here's there's so many problems in marketing, and the biggest problem is being forgotten, and if you're not in front of people, they're not thinking about you. If you're not thinking about you, nothing happens. But I'd love to get a new cartoon every day from the cartoon, from the perfect cartoon. And at the bottom of it says, hey, and then that could promote other things that you're doing for, I don't know.
That's a good idea.
I don't want to start advising your business.
Robert, you and I will be talking. We'll be talking offline. Trust me.
Anyway, so what is it about humor that is so difficult? I mean, it's kind of, people almost need a drink in them, or perhaps get high before they can let their inner humor out. I notice that people are so serious so often and so careful about what they say, and see, I have a practice. I mentioned in my newsletter that I just sent out, which is I walk my dogs every day in my neighborhood, and I meet my neighbors, and it's an opportunity to use humor as well. Because dogs are funny.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's always something funny to say.
It's funny.
Not that I'm trying to be a stand-up comedian when I'm walking, but it's like I like to be having fun with people. Just kicking things around and telling jokes and being silly, and it warms people up, right? But so anyway, that was my preface to my question, is why is that so hard for people? You have any idea? Why is it hard for people to create humor, to be funny?
Let's be honest. Life is hard. The first 3 words in the book, Path Least Traveled by Scott Peck, is life is difficult. So everybody's
3 words, life is difficult.
Yeah, first 3 words.
Well, that's a perspective.
Well, I mean, it's I have my own. We're emotional creatures. We have financial issues. We have loneliness issues. We're fighting a variety of headwinds. But what I have found, the best news I have found recently, I spent years taking care of my mom, and I'm still taking care of her, but now I have caretakers. So I didn't get out of the house much. And it's only after a few years I finally got out of the house more, believe it or not. And I was so surprised how kind and warm everybody was. And it's almost like I was in a prison, and I kind of never even had that distinction before. So what I learned, first of all, most of us are really sweet with each other. And the humor kind of comes in just the kindness and the warmth and the, just the generosity of spirit, and the quick little laugh, and your dog and dogs and people and kids. And so that's where we get our main humor joy, is just the subtlest of human connections that make us feel good in the grocery store or wherever. And in terms of actually something more organized and saying something funny story, or telling a long-winded story that's funny, or coming up with a quip in the moment that's very cute and clever, those happen too, but they're probably not intentional. They're just circumstantial in that moment. Somebody drops a can of peas on the floor in the store, and everybody's down there picking up. Now they're laughing about wonder how many peas there are here. Now we're all having a big laugh at the pea problem, so to speak. So, but that's why we're also drawn to, late night and comedians and stuff, because that's in the cartoonists. So, there are people really special. But the rest of us, we have our own little subtle ways of experiencing humor in our lives.
It's interesting. When I was showing people how to do emails that used a little humor, I'd say, here's your basic formula. Here's one thing you can do, here's a few examples, and send me your examples. And people would send me examples that had no humor whatsoever. None. It was invisible. It wasn't there. So it was like, holy crap. Why is this so hard? And I think people are afraid to look stupid. They're afraid to be judged. They're afraid of being not taken seriously. I mean, so it's an interesting line because, say, if you're promoting your business or you want to get someone's attention, you want to get a meeting with them, you want to use a little bit of humor. Um, there's kind of a line because you can go over the line and people can go, that's a little weird, and they'd never want to talk to you in a million years. So, finding that thing, how how does one develop that, or is that impossible?
You know, I'm glad you said what you just said. What you just said summed up my purpose in a
Yeah,
nutshell,
yeah,
and the challenge of my purpose, and why no one has taken on this challenge. Oddly enough, you just described why there has never been a humor point before. There's PowerPoint, and now there's humor point. Of course, humor point belongs with PowerPoint, but how come corporate world has never come up with it with such an obvious need? And you just described perfectly why no one wants to touch it. It's just like, how would I do that? It seems impossible. So obviously, I'm on the only one I know of in the world on the path to, like, if it can be done, I'm going to figure it out. And the way you do it is you simplify the risk factor. You lower the risk factor to almost nothing. You ask the simple question, which is, if you could wave a magic wand, would you use humor if you knew it was going to be well received, made people feel good, put a smile on their face, and make them feel good about you? Well, of course you would. And it didn't kill you. Right. So of course you would. So how do we bridge between the obvious, I want to use it, I would use it if it achieved the results I want and all the benefits.
yeah.
I mean, why hasn't anybody invented this thing here? I mean, all these benefits, and we're still like in the dark ages. So it's silly. It's embarrassing. And it would be impossible if it weren't for the cartoon industry. And as it turns out, there's the memes. There's, on my site, Humor Point, there's many. You can make your own meme. I've got quotes. There's all kinds of great content and paths to victory, but you need to bring it into a laser light so people can see for themselves. And yeah, I believe in that. I'm confident about that. I'm not worried that's going to backfire. In fact, I think that's going to, at worst, be well received. And at best, people are going to laugh and smile, and it's going to be the best presentation they've ever seen. So it's a funny story. And for example, I'll finish this last point on that thing. In the presentation world, the old adage is, do I have to be funny as a professional speaker? And the person says, well, only if you want to get paid. So that whole industry is also frozen like a deer in the headlights. There's nobody, and I checked them all out. That's why I'm finishing this humor point. And, I'm just starting a slow march towards the market. In the presentation industry, not a single company advocates for humor openly. It's like, coming out of the closet. I'm here for humor. Not a single one. They have no solution. Not on their websites. They never mention it. They might mention it maybe in their training subtly, but they're just too afraid that you could blow it, ruin yourself, your reputation, and the whole world's going to end. So it's for something of such an incredible upside, people's downside keeps them frozen.
Frozen. That sounds like a good idea for a movie.
Disney. I'll call it Disney.
Movies.
Yeah.
I actually haven't seen that movie yet.
Neither have I. I'm sure it's wonderful though.
Anyway, so frozen like a deer in the headlights. It's really true.
It's sad, Robert. It's sad. It's tragic. And this is why I'm so into this, and this is why the universe has called me to do this, because the universe is
sad and tragic. We can't laugh. So I said in the exchange with our email that I have a gift. I'm not the only one, obviously. I have the gift in a social situation to say something that makes people laugh. Genuine.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure how I do that. And but I see the absurdity of something.
Yeah.
It can be. It's usually very simple, and I can't even. It's almost impossible even to give an example out of context because it's
Right.
in the context of what's happening. What somebody does something or something says something, you say something that breaks the ice, and it's. And it's true. What you said is it increases the likability factor. If this guy can make me laugh, he must be not that. And then the barriers are down. So, but that's in person, and you're not really teaching that. You're showing how to use something that's already been created, which is great. with Perfect Cartoon that they can use in email and LinkedIn communication and message communication.
And
And that's not
presentation.
that hard. I mean,
Presentations. But look, again, let's even take your in-person stuff. In
yeah,
the in the creating a nice sense of charisma and personality and enhancing your humor skills. You're using exaggeration, you're using understatement, you're doing very subtle, quick little plays of the moment. Somebody
yeah,
says, I'm going to get a job working at the government. Well, you're going to be president? So that's going the upside. Or you mean a garbage man? That way, up or down.
yeah,
Or you're seeing the irony in a situation. Some guys, he's about ready to have a piece of chicken, but he's a vegetarian, but he thinks it's vegetarian chicken, and you say something about it. So
yes,
there's an ever-flowing amount of silliness in our lives, and of course, so there's that arena, and I'm very big on that arena as well, and I'll get in that teaching in that areas too. The only reason I go for the visual stuff is because it's down and dirty. There's no learning curve. There's no having to learn this whole kind of art of schmoozing and lightheartedness and self-deprecating and all that. It's all good, but I got 2 minutes to come up with some way for my presentation because everybody's pressed. So there's two arenas. One is a visual execution of well-received humor, and the other one's a personality speaking. And speaking is actually very impressive. So, which I do have some speaking humor on my site, or a funny quote. So, funny enough, if you can speak humor, people are like, okay, I want to hire this guy. So that is the advantage of speaking humor if you're trying to apply for a job or anything like that. You will move to the top of the list. If people think you have a sense of humor, the evidence is, and the science and the stats say, leaders want people who have a sense of humor because it implies they're intelligent, and they have certain qualities that they want.
right.
And so,
Yeah. So, I'm trying to think of the name. Jack Canfield. Ever heard of him? He's a motivational author,
yeah,
famous. He was one of the Chicken Soup for the Soul
yeah,
authors, along with Mark Victor Hansen. Many years ago, I saw him do a presentation, and he did cartoon after cartoon after cartoon. And, so he made a point about whatever it was, and then he'd have a cartoon, which he obviously did a lot of research to find the right cartoon.
right.
And he had the room rolling with laughter with these cartoons. So it takes a lot of pressure off of having to hit the punchline exactly right, just the cartoon of a situational kind of thing that he's talking about.
Right.
And so is that something that you want to teach people to do, how to use cartoons in all these different kinds of contexts?
I suppose, as I say, I'm happy to teach people a lot of different things. I think that what I really want to do is support the cartoon industry. I want the cartoon industry to thrive. I want these people to become more popular than ever. I want to see these guys on talk shows because they're such phenomenal souls, and the fact they're able to do this is such a gift to the world. So, one of the purposes of the Perfect Cartoon is to 10x the usefulness of that industry in business instead of just for an occasional newspaper and occasional someone on somebody's refrigerator, because they have such incredible business applications, as you just described. Jack Canfield doing that, and the guy who I saw the presentation flipped the entire audience in 15 seconds, and he was not a funny guy, but he's funny to us now, and we all fell in love with him instantly. So, my main thing is to first build the tools, and that people are going to come to, after they see my TED Talk or however they discover me, they're motivated to take a night off from Netflix and spend some time on Humor Point and see what the hell this guy's talking about and realize, shit, I'm going to do this. This is good. This is easy. I get this. And so to bridge that big mystery of, there's the funny people and the charismatic people, and there's the rest of us, destined to dullness.
Yes. The boring functionaries who do the blah 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 whatever.
And just boring is people dread boring. So that's why when you do a presentation, you have to demonstrate immediately that you're not going to be humorless, because people freak out around humorlessness when it comes to getting stuck in a room with somebody. So that's why cartoons are so. Even if you just show a cartoon up front, a couple of them, or maybe a funny quote, and it gets even a moderate kind of appreciation. At least you're signaling people I'm not going to be a snooze fest, and you're not going to die listening to me, and your phone, won't save you because I'm more dull than your phone could possibly save. So it's
Right.
everybody wins by using humor now. And I'm just trying to be one of those people who's of many evangelizers that say, guys, it's time to level up and to lighten up and to shed some light on any subject you're talking about. For God's sake, save us, please.
Save us please from boredom. Yeah. Yeah, I'm just thinking of all the conversations I've had with people, the presentations I've given. I used to do a lot of live presentations, and it wasn't all funny, but I knew how to make things humorous, and it didn't make all the difference in the world. But we've all seen presentations, for instance, that just wanted us to plot the murder of the presenter.
See, there you go. You did it right there, man.
Exactly. It's just like the extreme. It's like, oh my God, if I got this alone in a room with a gun, I couldn't restrain myself.
Wow.
It's so bad. So, it's so interesting.
Here's what's going to happen, Robert, just so you know. 10 years ago, there was mindfulness. And so mindfulness came in from nothing. No one have ever expected mindfulness to be a business term and a initiative, and people have wellness and mindfulness in the company. Really, what the heck? Okay, I guess so. That sounds good.
Mindfulness is a very personal thing. I'm just trying to be aware in the moment.
But my point is, no one would have expected that to enter the business arena. It's great.
I think people like Eckhart Tolle, who had a multi-million bestseller in the arena, helped. A lot of people read that, and other things.
My point is that humor is coming. Mark my words. Whereas mindfulness, but humor is different. Humor offers just as much benefits as mindfulness in some ways, but it has a much more specific business application. So the real key is, once you have tools in business to use humor, cultures can enhance, salespeople can be more confident, leaders can be more connected, and everybody wins. So it's just, whether it be my tools or other tools, the good news is it's coming because it's too obvious.
Yeah. It's quite a challenge, Robert, to figure out how to do this. I was thinking, who's the hardest audience? Now, maybe this isn't true for everybody. My hardest audience is my wife. Trying to, I can make other people laugh, but, I say something that I think is hysterically funny, and she just looks at me as if I'm a freaking idiot, It's like, So it's something I'm working on.
Well,
something I'm working on.
I want you to bring her. You got her cartoon. I want you to go to the Perfect Cartoon. You got your other feed. Everybody go to the Perfect Cartoon. Just throw a word in there, find one, and just text it to her or something. I don't know. You add another.
Well, I'm already doing that from the.
I know. Well, that was one idea. Maybe double down, morning and night. She you need to probably spruce up your outfit. Maybe wear a suit around the house.
I watch those. I love costume dramas.
Right.
I don't know if you watched the Gilded Age, one of the best television shows I've ever seen. It's about back when the robber barons were building railroads and all this stuff. And it's an amazing
Great.
But I would love to walk around with clothing like that from 150 years ago.
Of course,
walk my dogs with tails and a suit coat and a ruffled tie and the frickin' hats. They, these really rich people wear these top hats and stuff like that.
Would you please do that?
Would I please do that?
Please. And then I'm serious, because first of all, it's doable. It'll be an absolute delight to your neighborhood. It'll bust everybody up every stupid friggin' day. And it's just hilarious. Why not?
Yeah. On the other hand, I might get committed.
Well,
And
again, there's some risk, but and then they realize the property values are going down. This guy has got to go.
well, I could get away with it on Halloween.
There you go.
So, in Boulder Creek, we have a little tiny town. We live in the mountains up here in the San Francisco Bay Area and in the Santa Cruz Redwoods.
Yeah.
And the downtown is, really one block long. It's one big long block where the stores are, and there's a food store, and there's a retail stores, and this and that. And so, because you can't really trick or treat in the woods, because it's sort of dispersed,
Right.
people trick or treat around the town.
Yeah.
So everybody comes, they bring their kids, and they go around a circle, and the shopkeepers give the kids candy. It's a wonderful tradition.
Oh.
So at least what I could do is I could dress up really funny someday in something and walk my dogs once a year.
No. 4 times a year.
4 times a year.
Yeah, you put a lot of money into that outfit, man. You got to recover your costs. That's the first. It should be $250 per walk for the first year, and it'll amortize over 10 years.
Well, it's like, shall I give the impression that I'm an eccentric, insane person? That's not exactly the image that I want to.
You may already have that image, so I'd say embellish it.
Well, my dogs are comic relief anyway. I have one little dog that you see somebody he comes up and says, "Oh, yes, hello."
Oh.
Basically, he wants food.
Yeah.
She wants food.
Yeah.
But dogs keep you smiling. That's for sure.
If you type in dogs into the perfect cartoon, you'll get approximately 600 dog cartoons.
Have you curated those all individually and found and copied them and stick them? You must have spent ridiculous a number of hours to do that.
There's 12 years behind this project. So the advantage.
Oh, really?
Yes. So I looked the other day. I think there's at least 600 dog cartoons. Now, why would I collect so many dog cartoons? Well, because dog cartoons are phenomenal. Because dogs are universally joyous things to make fun about and have laughed about and smile about. If you use a dog cartoon in a presentation and took a serious business concept, such as we need to add new accounting software, you found a dog cartoon where the dog is urinating on 15 different trees and he's lost track of how many he's got 10 more to go before the day's out, whatever you might find. Now you've got a way of bringing a more personal sense of yourself into this meeting. Everybody can soften up and relax a little bit and enjoy the fact that you're a human being and we're all human beings and we all love dogs and that's funny. And this meeting feels better. And this time together feels better. And that'll happen because you were thoughtful enough to take a little time on the perfect cartoon or somewhere and find the dog cartoon you just love and put it in there just because life is short. Let's have a good time and let's laugh at what a miracle this world is.
Yes, exactly. By the way, cat fart cartoons are pretty damn funny as well because cats are strange beings in so many ways, very different than dogs.
Put the word cats in there and you're going to get the best cat collection you've ever seen.
You know what my wife, thinking of that, the videos that my wife likes to watch more than anything else is cat and dog videos. And so that's really a big thing on the internet, funny cat and dog videos. And sometimes it's a long clip, sometimes it's 10 seconds of some dog doing some funny thing or some cat doing some weird thing, or sometimes a cat and a dog together.
Oh.
So it's it's very, very popular. They get thousands, if not sometimes millions of views. So I think there's a longing for that kind of thing. And, because dogs and cats they're naive.
Precious beyond belief. They are saving us from the grief of aloneness, from the grief of isolation, from the grief of our minds and our negative bias.
Right.
They break right on through. There's a great a quote over here. The eyes of animals are mirrors in which we can see ourselves untouched by judgment.
Yeah.
So they're healing. They're heaven sent, and so that's one of the many other joyous gifts the
And
universe provides us.
and then you have the people who collect snakes.
I've never met them. Have you met one of those people?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure snakes are great. I don't want to do. I don't know any snakes.
They're not exactly personable, but no, people that collect reptiles are strange people.
Uh-huh.
They always have tattoos
That's hilarious.
and things like that. But
But
anyway,
I met my ex-girlfriend. She had chickens, and I fell in love with chickens. So all these various creatures.
Really?
Yeah, you know any chickens?
do I know any chickens?
Yeah.
Some of his friends are chickens. Are you kidding me?
I love chickens. They're very busy, as you know. They're very busy, so they make time for it. But they're usually very busy doing things. But this world is full of humor and things that make us smile. And
It's
so
true. It's true.
we want
It's
to bring
true.
that to each other because we all need to smile more, for goodness sake. We all need to feel more light from each other. And my entire life purpose is to be a light upon the world and to help other people spread light with greater ease and joy.
Yeah.
It sounds like a preaching thing, but it happens.
I'm totally with that. I mean, we have a world these days that seems very divisive and quite angry.
Yeah.
And I have a friend who I talk to every day, and I discovered after knowing him for a while that we're on different ends of the political spectrum.
Yeah.
Last night we had a long conversation about politics, and I won't get into what his beliefs are or anything that would, but it's interesting. It's like, how can I have a conversation with this guy about it without getting angry, with being calm, with using a little bit of humor, with, because I don't think he'll ever see my side. It would take a 6-day symposium to do that.
Right.
Anyway, so it's interesting that, there's a lot of friction. There's a lot of distrust. This divide between left and right is just getting wacky. And it's hard for us to use humor about that because, there's a kind of humor that's making fun of other people. But there's the kind of humor that is more laughing at ourselves.
Right.
But when it comes to political humor, the things that Democrats like, the Republicans ain't going to like. But have you ever met a Republican that had a sense of humor?
Well, the truth is that they're not. It's not, for whatever reason, it doesn't seem to be, even in the cartoon world, there's some cartoonists who are on the right for sure, and they're decent, but their humor is a little bit kind of, obvious, Biden's old, etc. So I don't know. It seems like certainly most comedians are on the left. Yeah, maybe a handful, but most of them are not. And why? I don't know why that is. It's a certain intelligence that is required, and
maybe we can laugh at ourselves more. I don't know. It's very interesting because, as you know, President Trump has never in his presidency, never went to any of the big correspondence dinner because basically he doesn't like people to laugh at him or he doesn't have a sense of humor that way. And
that's because narcissists don't like people laughing at them. That drives them crazy. But just so you know, I'm going to be approaching the Biden people in the next month here to say who's in charge of the humor of the speeches. And that's one of the reasons I was excited to get my website finished so I have a little more credibility when I get on the phone with these guys. Where's the war room, the humor war room? And I don't want belittling, put down humor. That's okay. And that we might have a little bit, but I mean, what you want is humor that just speaks for itself. It makes Joe look young. It makes Joe have great insights that he can flip on. He can even make fun of climate change or whatever it might be. But how do we do it in such a way that it's insanely intelligent? Because it turns out the science says this, that when you make people laugh, they instantly see you irrationally favorably. Whereas normally judging people negatively all the time, but if you're really attractive, you get judged irrationally favorably. And if you're funny, you get judged irrationally favorably. And so when you make people smile or laugh, they see you as competent, confident, and intelligent. It's just that's what the brain tells them about you. And so even when Ronald Reagan said about Walter Mondale, I'm not going to let your youth and inexperience, be why, I'm not going to play that up, your youth and inexperience. And the whole country laughed. He won that election because of that one joke. That took the other 20% of the people that didn't like Ronald and thought, you know what? I didn't like his policies, but he's kind of funny. I think I'll press a button. So that's how powerful humor is. It transforms people's view of somebody in less than a minute if you can find a way to use it well.
Yeah.
So I'm going to call Biden's people. It's who's in charge of this project, because I refuse to lose this election because we didn't have a good enough humor. We didn't have better writers. We didn't have humor in our writing.
Biden has a sense of humor. You can tell he does.
He does. It needs to be better, though. You need to, plan for it. This is a weapon of light, and you need to have that light weapon ready to go.
President Biden, we'd like to introduce you to the joke team.
Hey, President Biden, first of all, get down to your underwear and start dancing like a chicken. Okay, let's get the meeting started.
Something, yeah, really, that would be, I watch the opening monologues of Jimmy Kimmel and Stephen Colbert on YouTube every night.
And what's his face? My other buddy, our other buddy.
Jimmy Fallon.
No, the guy, the other guy, Seth Meyers.
Seth Meyers, I watch him too. Not every night, but most nights. Yeah. But Colbert and Kimmel are different, and I think Kimmel is getting funnier and funnier.
I love Jimmy.
He's extraordinary. But we forget that, all those jokes that just seem natural and off the top, off the cuff, and he's obviously practiced them, and and he has cue cards as well, so he doesn't forget them. But for every joke they tell, they probably generate 10 or 15 jokes, and they go through them and they try this one, try that one, and then if the writer's room laughs, it's like, okay, well, that's the one we'll put in, and then Jimmy goes over it. I mean, this 10-minute monologue takes hours to do, and so I think that's part of the intimidation factor. It's so natural for them. It's not necessarily, although Jimmy Kimmel is a naturally funny person in so many ways.
Well, and that team of people, we need to have the same team of people working at the national level for this next very important election. And one of my goals is in the next few years, and I have a lot of big goals, is I want to see all those shows showcasing a cartoon every night on their show, all of them. They need to give a shout out to the cartoon industry. They need to make sure this cartoon industry is flourishing. This cartoon industry is critical for democracy and for education and understanding and insight. And it's insane that Rachel Maddow and all those guys on that fat and Jimmy, there should be a cartoon of the night. It could be a political one. It could be, non-political. But the point is, they have to support. Okay, there's what I call stand-up comedians and sit-down comedians. And sit-down comedians are the cartoonists. They need to be supported by the stand-up people who have the television things, because they're both doing the same thing, and they should respect. I'm sure the stand-up people really respect the difficulty of the sit-down guys who are doing a complete joke without even a human being delivering it. They're doing it through a drawing and a caption, and it's just as powerful, if not more powerful. So, everybody's got to come together on the humor front here and get going, because we need all the smartest, brightest humor in the world to permeate everywhere for everybody's benefit.
I agree. Are you a fan of Bill Maher?
I like Bill. He's a funny guy. He does some good stuff. He can be a little bit, what do you say? A little bit edgy, and an edge is really good. And sometimes it's like, come on, Bill, that's low hanging fruit there. And that's really, we only have so much time here, so don't waste it.
Well, the end of his show every week, he does the
7-minute old thing, the wrap up thing, and they're very fun. They can be brilliant. Sometimes they're just utterly brilliant.
New rules. And the point is, he often uses a lot of visuals or cartoons or visual jokes or stuff like that to point out something crazy. So you can imagine that they, the writers have to pour through stuff, to find this, and then they have to get permissions for all of it. So, they're working on, they only do 1 hour show once a week. And I don't know how many writers he has working with him.
I think he's a half hour show. I think he shows a half hour.
No, it's 1 hour.
Oh, his 1 hour. Okay, it's an hour. Okay, great. And
1 hour a week.
Yeah, and he's done some astonishingly brilliant 7-minute at the end there. I mean, like I've saved them. They're just like front to end, the level of intelligence and discerning and no bullshit and driving straight to the hoop one after another. So I mean, I'm proud of all these people. I have my little niche that I'm responsible for. I'm trying to basically scale a sense of people's ability to use humor that's never been done. It's astonishing to me that no one's ever thought of this. I can't believe it comes down to one knucklehead like me. It's embarrassing that the universe, God has to rely on me to think how obvious it is.
Well, humor is deprecated. So, in some ways, Jimmy Kimmel makes fun of Trump every night.
You're right.
And he has great jokes about Trump.
And Mr. Pillow, and the pillow guy.
And he makes, what's his joke about Pence, the vice poodle?
Yeah.
Yeah, calls him that. So things like that. And sometimes he's kind of edgy because the things Trump does, he is disgusted by, but he finds a way to. Sometimes it's not always funny. It's edgy with a comedic twist to it. And I had a wonderful point I was going to make, and that disappeared into the nether regions.
Jimmy Kimmel goes out there and he delivers salient points, and they're not always funny, but they're important. And he's got a way of making Trump look silly. At the same time, he's dead serious about what he's saying.
I know what I was going to talk about. His child had a serious condition when he was born, and almost, and he was doing a talk related to the necessity for something, a serious thing. And then somebody on the other side says, well, Jimmy Kimmel is not a serious person. We shouldn't take him seriously. But comics are the conscience of our society in many ways. They're saying the stuff out loud that nobody is saying. They're pointing out the absurdities. And so you can tell that they're on point when somebody's saying like that, well, he's not a serious person.
Right.
Yeah, except that millions of people watch him every night and love and appreciate him for, putting it on the table. And, I think if you only watch Jimmy Kimmel and Stephen Colbert and no other news, you'd get a pretty good sense of what's happening politically. They cover the news of the day. Hey, did you hear about this today? Trump did this. Marjorie Taylor Greene did this.
This is why it's insane for these guys not to have a cartoon of the day every single time. It's a full screen thing. They put it up. It's funny. The political cartoonists are genius out there. Editorial cartoonists are genius. Doesn't have to be an editorial, but an editorial cartoon packs such a wallop in 15 seconds. You can learn more from an editorial cartoon than a 2-hour seminar on any topic. And so they have to invite and bring these guys, elevate these incredible thinkers and social philosophers to the next level up. And, but I haven't gotten on the phone with these guys yet because I'm still trying to, get by through the day.
Do it imperfectly.
Yeah. I'm getting there, though.
Go up to the White House covered with cartoons. I mean, do something.
There you go.
You'd be put in jail, but other than that,
I'm proud of what I'm able to do. I know I'm representing an entire industry that doesn't know I'm doing this for them. That industry needs their own search engine. Now they have it. I've had to worry about people coming after me saying, oh, what do you do with all this stuff? How can you do this? This is that. And, please, people, you have no idea. Let me do my work here. I'm trying to 10x the glory of your work. And for goodness sake, hold the lawyers at bay.
So you haven't been sued?
Not yet.
Or threatened?
Not yet.
Yeah.
I mean, Bob Mankoff, I had a conversation with him one time. He's the head of the New Yorker, and I think he's the one who did that cartoon. And he and I got in a conversation. He realized I was harmless, so he let me continue. Because he runs the Cartoon Stock, which is the big cartoon site.
Oh, right. Right.
I'm hell-bent on that industry. I cannot let a cartoon, for example, when you send your wife those cartoons, you know what I do? I load that one cartoon onto the perfect cartoon because it's too good. And when it goes, for example, on that little cartoon thing you get every morning, those are the daily cartoons from these other 15 or 20 different sites, right? They find them, but they're never seen again because they're in a calendar that comes and goes. They're not searchable on those platforms. See, I go to that platform, I find the original, and then I link to it from the Perfect Card to where it is on that site. But now it's relevant because now it's searchable by 15 different categories versus it's never findable again. I can't let those things disappear. They're too important. And so imagine all those ones. Someday send me ones you like, just for the hell of it. I'm just curious which ones you like, but I have my own little group that comes in every morning. But you know what I mean. You know how hard it is just to walk away from a phenomenal card thinking this will never be seen again. I think that's insane.
Yes. Well, it's all my newsletters, my brilliant newsletters I've written over 25 years. Well, they're all up on the website, most of them.
Yeah. Well, good. See, all your work is phenomenal. I'm stunned when I look at, I've read quite a few of your newsletters. The quality of your work is the very best. And I know a lot of everybody's doing out there in newsletters and blah, blah, blah. You don't post on LinkedIn. I do post on LinkedIn every day, 5 days a week. But I mean, obviously you do very well there if you did. But
you don't know that I have a stable full of writers in the back here?
I'm assuming with horses.
I go to my backyard and feed them food scraps, and we come up with ideas.
I'm just saying the quality of what you do, the writing, the way in which you format it, and the sentence structure. Your experience has paid off because I'm just like, damn, this guy's smart.
Well, thank you. Nice to have a fan.
You got one fan in me, that's for sure.
So what I recommend everybody do, obviously, is go to perfectcartoon.com. Come up with, and by the way, I just realized it's not marked in my browser. I am a, what's the word? I'm a compulsive organizer.
Yes, me too.
So I have all the different categories. I have a category for jazz. I have a category for TV. I have a category for, everything. I have the one main thing, the things I go to all the time. So I'm going to put the Perfect Cartoon there.
Yep.
Because you forget about it. That's the problem. There's so much stuff out there. So bookmark it in your web browser.
I do.
And, well, obviously you have to.
Not mandatory. I don't have to. I like my stuff, so I do it because I want to, not have to. It's not a have to for me.
So use it. Yeah,
And I do suggest people go to Humor Point, PowerPoint, Humor Point. Humor Point has a variety of tools on it. There's 6 tools. There's the perfect comedy clip, the perfect joke, the perfect cartoon, the perfect quote, and the perfect graphic tool. And, just as I say, take a night off from Netflix for an hour and just realize in an hour you will improve your sense of humor faster than any other way you possibly can. And plus, you'll have a good time doing it. So, and it's designed to be a nice experience.
And you will survive. No one has died yet looking at the Perfect Cartoon. Well, maybe they have, but we're not going to tell about those people.
Yeah.
Anyway, Robert, it's been fun.
Thank you, Robert. Well, you're a phenomenal human being. That's I say.
Yeah, it's too bad you're not passionate about this.
I wish I had more joy about it, more excitement. The funny thing is, when you're called to do something, as you know, it's hard freaking work. So I want to tell everybody about this idea of a visionary, whatever the heck we're called. What do we call it? Visionary?
Ordinary visionary.
Ordinary visionary. All the people out there in the world who are doing things that you admire, rest assured, it's not easy. Whether you're an actor, a musician, a political leader, all these things where you've chosen to follow your, passion and your light and your bliss and your, gift. It's a slog. And so admire those people. You can look up to them and appreciate them, but just know they're just people like you. They've got, an ache somewhere in their body that they're trying to figure out how to freaking make go away. Their kids are something's going sideways here or there. Life is hard for everybody. And so, welcome to the party of hard, and go ahead and do something yourself that would be hard, because we need everybody to contribute their greatest gifts to this world. And now's the time more than ever.
Yeah, and that's the purpose of this thing, to bring this out and hopefully inspire people to realize that they too are an ordinary visionary, and they make a difference.
There you go.
So thank you, Robert.
Thank you, Robert. Nice to see you again, my friend.
Thank you.